Just finding space for my 3 of my beverages is so hard.
You have to have all these various fluids.
I do. I need all my fluid levels need to be in check. I'm
You
like,
gotta balance your humors.
I do. That's what this is, like the prescription. This is like a 1920s prescription I have in front of me. Okay, General Commander. Jesus, what a fucking movie.
This movie sucked.
It wasn't even.
Don't.
Wait, hold on. We're not officially. Is this official? Is this content? Is this?
I've been
content?
recording for 5 minutes now.
But what I don't want to have happen is that there's like 10 minutes of recording, 3 minutes of thoughts on our movie, and then 20 minutes talking about something else.
I think we're jumping right in.
Oh, okay.
Jumping right in. We're going in raw.
We're jumping right in, and this movie, it wasn't.
But you can't check your 6. It's kind of like, taking a screwdriver to a gunfight. What's happening? Just like old Tom.
It was boring. It was honestly, it was just boring.
It was mostly boring. Yeah.
It was boring until it wasn't.
Really?
It was boring until it almost made me throw up. Like with the, not because, like I was getting dizzy with I think the editing in the last 10 minutes was so bad, I got a little dizzy.
Oh,
I didn't have that. I just had
was bad the whole way through.
I think it did.
Shaky Cam City the whole time.
Except I did just watch. We just saw Monkey Man in theaters, which was very good. Which also it had like an incredibly close-up claustrophobic, like incredibly shaky cam. Like there were times in Monkey Man watching it on the Dolby screen where I thought I was gonna get sick, but that was a good movie.
Uh-huh.
So that can't be the reason why a movie's bad. So I'm gonna kind of sum this up real quick. I'm gonna use a reference that's useless because nobody outside of this podcast will understand it.
Okay.
I want to say that. So hello. Welcome. This week we have viewed General Commander.
Episode 48.
Episode 48, 2009, direct-to-video American
2019.
film. Came out in 2019. May 28th, 2019. General Commander. This one I'm going to say, it kind of felt like... What was it? It feels like a combination of attrition and cartels, aka Killing Salazar. Nobody, including Steven Seagal, has seen both of those movies, so that reference that's a very specific, that's a deep cut for exactly you two. But it's General Commanders is a combination of attrition and cartels, but the bad parts of each of those. Because we kind of were a little warm on attrition. We kind of didn't hate attrition.
Well, it's because this one doesn't have any Seagalisms. This one didn't have anything to pay attention to. It was just boring through and through.
Yeah, there was nothing interesting about this. This was very much like paint by numbers Seagal.
But not even paint by numbers. This was like watching paint dry on the wall Seagal. So it's the boring parts of attrition and the boring parts of cartels. How do you feel about that comparison?
I think it leans more toward cartels than attrition.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's structurally it's like attrition because like nothing happens and like the big mission they build up for is like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
There's a long section of this movie. There's literally nothing happening. It's just people sitting around being sad.
I was gonna they're all sad. They're all very, very, very sad. And that's it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's like that structure of nothing happens till the very end of attrition, but without any of the entertaining kind of fun like spot the Skullisms of attrition.
No.
And it's also like this weird... You're on the mission and the mission went wrong. What happened in the mission? Like the mission went wrong. You need an answer for that. Where is this guy? What happened with the mission? Of cartels and Killing Salazar.
Yes.
Actually, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. Except I was very distracted the entire time. This isn't even a critique of the actress, but I feel like the person who's grilling. So in Cartels, Seagal is the one grilling them. In this one, it kind of feels like a Leslie Knope cosplayer.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
She doesn't actually look like Amy Poehler, but it's like a Leslie Knope from Parks and Recreation like cosplayer, but she's kind of doing like a Tucker Carlson face for most of her.
She's like it's like
she's like, what is happening? What is going on?
I was thinking I was thinking it was like, what if it was the cast of Parks and Rec? And like Leslie Knope has to play like the hard-boiled CIA handler, that's like trying to handle like all the other members of the Parks and Recreation office are all like CIA agents. Like she wrangled them all into being in like this play, and they're trying to like put on a show for Pawnee.
Okay, hear me out. This is like a 2011 Saturday Night Live sketch where they actually managed to bring in most of the Parks and Rec cast because it is a lot of SNL alums. And they're like, and the premise of the bit is like, hey, we cut funding for the Parks and Rec department, but it's okay, we got you new jobs. And it's like they're in the CIA.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like you're seeing Chris Traeger being like, okay, perfect, we're gonna interrogate you now. Get the waterboarding ready. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of gag.
Yeah.
And like Amy Poehler has to like pretend to be Leslie Knope interrogating someone.
Yeah. Like she has to be hard-boiled, like tough boss lady, and just not doing a very good job of it. This is not really a criticism of the actress. The lines that she's given to read barely make sense, and she just has to repeat the same things over and over and over again.
So tell me, Nick Offerman, we're not killing this fictional.
Oh, he would have killed it. Yes.
He would absolutely. Let's explain, Zach. Though, please explain to us why this is happening and what's happening in these scenes, because we haven't gotten there yet.
It's a lot of nothing is the problem. There's
but you're saying, there's the hard-boiled detective lady, and she's the CIA wrangler, and you're talking about how she's Leslie Knope. How does that fit? What is the movie about?
Yes. Okay, so kind of roughly, just a very general overview, because like we said, not much happens.
It's mostly nothing.
Steven Seagal kind of leads this little CIA team. Like they're just, as far as I can tell, they work for the CIA, but they just kind of like do missions. Like it's very loose.
They're the IMF
kind of elements of it. Yeah,
more
basically
or less.
The IMF. More. This kind of is a Mission Impossible when you think about it.
Yeah.
Well,
this is a Mission. This is
kind of like Ghost Protocol.
Well, it's like someone read the Wikipedia page for a Mission Impossible movie and thought, I could do that.
This isn't Ghost Protocol. This is like Phantom Instructions or something. Like this is the knockoff, the bargain basement.
Like they know that this, like everything about this movie, like they know it's playing in the background. Of
they even
like a
do,
bored
like,
family dinner.
Impossible gadgets too. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so they have the IMF. They have a mission where so they go in. They're trying to like take out this arms dealer.
He's an organ harvester.
But he does like multiple criminal
That's
things.
like the whole thing.
No, the main focus is
on the it's not really. That doesn't factor into the plot at all.
Until the last 20 minutes. Okay, listen. Shh. So he is, it's organ trafficking, but he also does arms dealing. He does all of the bad stuff. It's established. So CIA agent Jake Alexander, played by Steven Seagal,
as opposed to the John Alexanders.
You will notice sounds a lot like John Alexander from those 3 movies that were allegedly sequels to each other. So maybe this one also fits into that. I don't know. Jake Alexander leads a team. Their mission, they have, of course, we need to infiltrate. Sexy woman's going to help us infiltrate, follow, get into this club or whatever. It goes poorly, and very weird for me personally. Hi, my name is Zach. The character named Zach gets killed off. So they spend the whole movie talking about how Zach got killed.
Yeah.
That was strange for me. And so this mission fails and it's botched. And so Leslie Knope comes in and she's basically like, hey, we're like disbanding you guys. Like, you're going to go home. You're still going to work for the CIA, but you're going to be split up and not do this whole loose conglomeration of CIA IMF missions that you have. And they're like, nah, that's kind of bull. We don't want to follow that. We're not going to do that. So we're not going to do that. That's how that conversation goes. Except they spend way more time on that.
It drags on for like 10 minutes of them.
Because each character has an individual, like, man, I got to see this through. We got to stop the guy. Walks out of the room. Nah, listen, like, I'm just not cool with this guy being out there. Like, I'm not saying bye to you guys. Walks out of there. This is like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They don't just walk out either. They fade out.
Oh, yeah, they literally fade out of the shot.
As they're walking in. It was a time filler.
Like, they fade to transparent into the background.
Then
this is from 2019, not 2009. Like
it had some like hard late 2000s, early 2010s vibe. Like I was expecting the Spy Kids to show up at some point.
Oh, this would be so much better with the Spy Kids. Then they all kind of sit around. They're sad because they were told they have to disband, and Zach died, and they're all really broken about how Zach died. And
they spend like 45 minutes just sitting around being sad.
And a lot of characters look at each other and just exposition at each other. They're like, yes, Zach helped me. I used to be an exotic dancer, and then Zach got me off the streets and got me into the CIA, so I'm really torn up about this. And I'm like, thanks. Thanks, exposition. So that's most of the movie.
That would have been helpful before he died.
That's not even an exaggeration either. That is most of the movie. Like you look at the timestamps of when that starts and ends, and that is the majority of this movie is them being sad, reminiscing about how the guy that died within the first 5 minutes was their best bud, and now they have to avenge his death by killing the bad guy.
Hey, you know what works like way better than that? Explaining the relationship before he dies so that I feel with the characters. I know we haven't script doctored one of these in a long time because it just hasn't been worth it.
If Zach actually was a character,
yeah,
that would help.
He is on screen for 5 minutes, and for 3 of those, he is unconscious.
That's true.
Like, I didn't even realize this guy existed until after he was dead, essentially.
Yeah, we knew
like,
nothing
really
about
him.
Zach.
He was bait. He was bait to be organ harvested, and he was unconscious during that time. And then he wakes up like just in time. So you only get maybe like 90 seconds of Zach being alive.
And we spent 45 minutes learning how he was such a great guy. Pretty much the only kind of thing that matters at all is Seagal meets with a Russian lady, and she just kind of gets her to invest $5 million in his startup mercenaries.
Hey, it's Max from Mission Impossible. That is exactly what that is.
Except, okay, see, the thing, though, is that Sarah and I have been watching a lot of Succession lately. So he basically, like, does a pitch, and then, like, soon after that, there's a scene of them all trying to look, like, really cool getting off this, like, private jet. So it just felt like I was watching knockoff Succession for, like, 10 minutes. I was watching, like, Inheritance, like, the A&E, like, the way, like, the budget cable channels try to do, like, knockoff HBO shows. I felt like I was watching one of those. Like, this is the Vikings to the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So to me, this is it is the knockoff of Ghost Protocol, because you're right, it is a Mission Impossible movie, but the whole thing was that because they disobeyed orders, they didn't want to be disbanded, go back to Langley, as she said it. They wanted to, like, see this mission to the end, and they basically went AWOL, and the handler, said as much, that was what was going to happen. So they weren't going to have any help from the agency to finish their mission. They would do it alone, and, any evidence, the whole thing, any evidence of this would be denied. Yeah. And then Seagal goes to Russian business buddy and says, hey, can I have $5 million so that we can finish out this mission? And she goes, of course you can. And that's that. Like,
yeah.
Except it's really gross. They wrote her a line where she's like, ooh, I'm going to need to get you a big office building so you can be taken seriously with a woman boss. And I'm like, okay, that in. That was
unnecessary.
Again, this is 2019. Like, Russian women can also be in charge of super secret black site, like military, IMF type agencies. Come on. It's the future. Let's move on, people.
It is the current
year.
Man.
Bad
and
times.
That's pretty much it until they set up essentially a sting operation. They're like, hey, we're going to pose as people. Well, they give
a very poorly thought out and executed sting operation.
They look at the camera and give an explanation of how, like, the dark web and cryptocurrency and Bitcoin works, and it's not as inaccurate as you would expect from a movie like this.
No, but I do wonder. I was expecting it to be like wildly inaccurate. It's just mostly inaccurate, but it is completely unnecessary.
Well, you have to. Like,
there is no reason for them to be explaining this.
Most TV shows act like every single person on the dark web is like some super secret, like, mafioso or something. Like,
yeah.
They're like, people use cryptocurrency to buy, like, drugs. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's kind of...
Yeah, that happens.
That's like at least the Silk Road part of, like, the dark web.
Yeah.
So they set up the sting, and they're like, hey, we want this organ. And the guy's like, okay. And then they pull back a curtain, and there's just, like, a living human body, like, on a table. And he's like, I'm going to cut this heart out right in front of you. So you know it's
no
fresh.
Reason.
So
No, it was for no reason. It was very dumb, but that was kind of a funny twist.
That was the line. So it's fresh.
That got a laugh on me. I'm like, oh, we upped the stakes so hard.
They had a woman on his team posing as a wealthy wife whose husband is dying, and she needed... They didn't even say what organ. Was it a heart?
I think it's a heart. Yeah,
it was a heart. Okay.
I was very confused as to what they were doing until they actually got to...
No,
for all of the exposition, they didn't actually explain it very well.
No.
So yeah, they go to the warehouse and to do the deal, exchange the money for the organ, the heart, and they pull back a curtain and there's just a dude lying on a table and he says, "I'm gonna do this in front of you, so you know it's fresh."
So like,
Oh my God.
I wasn't really thinking of this movie as a Mission Impossible. I was just confused by the bad editing and why Leslie Knope was in this. But now that we started talking about it as a Mission Impossible, like this gets Mission Impossible precisely wrong. Like the way that Mission Impossible movies work is that they explain to you exactly how it's supposed to go, so that when it like the mission starts happening and things start going awry, it's like exciting. Like, how are they going to get this back on track? That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Except in this movie, they do not explain to you anything. Like what is this supposed to look like? Nobody knows. They don't even like. It seems the characters don't know what's supposed to be happening. Yep. So when things quote unquote go awry, there's no reaction. I felt nothing because I don't know what is and is not part of the plan.
Well, it's even more than that, because in Mission Impossible, not all the movies, but especially in like the latest ones, Mission Impossible literally just says, we're going to use the title sequence to show you all of the cool shit we're going to do, and then when we do that cool shit, you're still going to be amazed as if you like didn't know. They like spoil the movie in the first like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you're still like, oh my gosh, she's jumping from train car to train car.
Yeah.
And this movie, it is just like you get there and you're like, oh, I guess they're doing an organ harvesting mission. Oh, that would have been cool if you told us. Like in that scene where you were all sitting around a table talking about what you're going to do. You just kind of explained the dark web and didn't say what you were going to do. Thanks for the PowerPoint demonstration, like the freshman year, like lecture on what the dark web is.
Yeah. It's like the DARE program for the dark web. That's all we got.
But I'm not even joking. Maybe my experience was different in this. This movie was so boring. And I'm not going to say it gets good, but this movie is so boring. And then all of a sudden they crank it up to 11. Like from that moment on, the second the curtains come down and they're just like, we're going to harvest the heart from this living human body from in front of you. It's a different movie. Stuff is wild. Stuff is
Let me
weird.
explain why you're wrong.
No!
Because it's not. You have that moment, what you're describing, for all of 5 seconds, because the curtain comes down, live human body, the whole team gasps and they say, okay, we need you to get like create a distraction because we need to get in there now. We can't wait for the deal to be done because we can't let them kill this man. And then
who they never actually rescue. Like they abandoned him in that warehouse the instant things go sideways.
Yeah, we'll get there. But they do that. They create a distraction, and then it's a gunfight, and then it's nothing again. It's a gunfight, more gunfight, spills out onto the street, more gunfight, and then a knife fight, and then the movie's over.
Let me tell you why I'm right, Hans. Because you have to remember, for like 80% of this movie, it's people sitting. There's like one gunfight at the beginning, and then it's people talking about how sad they are. So this movie starts off and I'm just like, oh, it's just going to be a gunfight. And then, oh, they're harvesting like a heart out of this human body. And then it's like you said, exactly like you said, okay, we're just having the classic, kind of crappy, poorly staged gunfight like we get in these movies. And then a helicopter shows up and just starts doing aerial warfare at them, like just unloading miniguns on them. And a dude pulls out a previously not established RPG, and he blows the helicopter up. Like, and the thing is, that's not crazy for a movie.
And then he tells him Merry Christmas.
And
yes, he blows up the helicopter, says Merry Christmas. I have no idea why. This movie, I don't think it's set around Christmas.
No.
And then
there's no chronology at all.
Let me finish the movie. No talking. Shut up. Because that happens. They shoot a car until it flips over, or no, they explode the car. The guy's running away. They do the standard knife fight, except actually, it's a low bar. Maybe the best knife fight we've seen in a Skull movie.
Is it?
This is probably the least worst knife fight. I want to be clear. I'm not defending this movie. I'm just explaining that like the last 5 minutes have more action than the rest of the movie.
That part's true.
That's true, but that doesn't make it a different movie.
Because
that doesn't mean they took it up to 11.
Cadaver that goes into a gunfight, which goes into another gunfight, which goes into exploding a helicopter, which goes into a knife fight, and then things calm down, and you think, okay, movie's over, and they're just like, you need to tell us where Seagal is. You need to tell us where Seagal is. You need to tell us where Seagal is, while they're also showing these like drone pilots. And they just never learn where Seagal is. No one ever tells them where Seagal is. But then they just drone strike Seagal and his previously not established wife. He's retired with a wife, like living in some other country, and he's living in the Philippines or something, and he gets blown up by a drone strike.
Okay, so You're not wrong, I guess. You're not wrong. But when you say they take it to 11 out of nowhere, that's not true. The movie is
like 7 out of nowhere.
No. The movie starts at like a 2, then it drops down to a 1, and then the curtain drops and it goes to maybe a 3, and then it goes back down to a 2.
It's like a 5
on a 2.
It was like a
7.
5, not in quality, but in like explosions
in terms of
and
like
gunshots
things
per minute.
happening.
Now I will say a lot of the impact of the final gunfight and all that is robbed by the fact that all of the guns sound like air pistols.
Yeah, no. So we've talked about like how a lot of the times they have like the wrong gun sound effect with like the associated gun. Like they just have a person with like they have a machine gun and it's doing pistol sound effect or something. This one, every single gun has the wrong sound effect.
Yes.
Like they have a revolver and it's like a silenced like spy movie gun.
Yeah,
but they're just like it's just like a 50 cal revolver or something like
50 cal revolver.
50 cal revolver.
That's a thing that exists.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't think so.
Hans, that would be the 50 caliber handgun. That would be the Smith & Wesson 50 caliber revolver. Yeah, that totally exists.
Wow.
Smith
That's
& Wesson
ridiculous.
made one.
That's
Actually,
not
there's
what is in the movie, Mike.
There's multiple. There's a Taurus Raging Hunter. There's the Magnum Researcher BFR. Okay, and there's the Smith & Wesson 500.
This is not. No. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes, it exists, but this is not what they're showing. This is far from what they have.
He has like a big old revolver, and it's doing like a little tiny silenced spy gun sound effect. Is what I mean.
That is happening.
Yes,
that's true.
Hans, would you allow the art
Let
of
the man
exaggeration,
cook.
please? Aaron,
What?
You didn't pick that up from your college students, did you?
A little bit. I spent a lot of time around the youths.
Here's the thing.
It's my job.
On this movie, we ultimately all agree. I just think like the degree of our oven is set to different temperatures. We're all cooking, but we each have the oven at a different degree. None of us liked the movie. We all thought the movie was boring. I just think at the end it goes up to like maybe an 8 for 5 minutes. Hans says it goes up to a 3 for 5 minutes.
I'd say like a 6.
Okay.
I suppose the relative rise is even. Yeah. We're looking at the scale at different levels, but the relative difference in action is an even rise.
Like you're looking at it like
I can agree with you on that.
At it like exponentially, like there's some kind of different measuring system.
Yeah, like what your resting heart rate throughout the whole thing is like pretty low.
Pretty low. It's like coma. It's like that dude who's about to get his heart ripped out. Like it is like a sleeping heart rate.
Yeah.
Who was just not mentioned, not brought up again. They leave that warehouse real quick, and then he's just there, left alone.
The bad guys are driving away in a car, and this woman just kind of shoots the driver in the chest without breaking any of the glass. Like, and one dude is just straight up running after the car on foot and doesn't accomplish anything, which is very funny.
And then the helicopter shows up and starts shooting at everybody. And even though it is a helicopter shooting down from the sky, they're all just hiding behind a car, shooting at it with pistols, no one getting shot.
No.
And then the guy pulls out an RPG, just...
But this one is just very... It's just... The funny thing about this movie is kind of similar to how Mission Impossible like tells you what's going to happen, and then you're still like, what the hell, that happened? Yeah. When you read like the Wikipedia summary for this, it not the same effect, not to the same degree as Mission Impossible. I just appreciate that it says, Alexander resigns from the CIA and disappears. Alexander's team refuses to reveal his whereabouts. Hayes nonetheless locates him and subsequently orders a drone strike on Alexander just as he is reunited with his lover in the Filipino countryside.
Yeah.
That's insane, and that's also exactly verbatim what happens.
Yes.
That is 100% an accurate recounting of what happens.
Well, and so the weird thing about that is it is throughout the movie that these interviews with the CIA handler happen, where she's trying to get them to tell her where Seagal is.
Yeah, as if all
none
this
of them will give him up.
Like in the past.
Yeah. And she's saying to each one of them, like, I'll put you back in jail. Like, I won't hesitate. You just have to tell me where he is. You just have to follow orders. And none of them, they go through, is it like 6 of them?
That's a 6. Well, it was a 7-man team until Zach got mutilated. And then...
so they go through 5 of them, I guess. 6 minus Seagal. And none of them give up where he is. But you hear them... You hear her asking them where he is throughout the whole movie, well before you even know that he's gone. And you don't even know that he's gone until like the very, 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 very end. And it's not that he just like tried to disappear. It's not like he was trying to escape the CIA's hands. You don't even see it happen. It's just after the final fight takes place, you just are told that he left.
Well, they couldn't tell that
hid.
part of the story. They had to spend most of the time talking about how everyone's sad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it just didn't make sense, because they don't even explain. They're all there. They're all together at the end after that final fight. They all could have dispersed. They all could have run and hid.
How did everyone but Seagal get captured? Doesn't matter.
Exactly. They're all captured by the CIA, and then none of them will give up his location, and then they find out his location anyway, and they spend 2 whole minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a long time. Like, when you're watching something... When you're watching something boring, 2 minutes is a really long time.
Yeah.
So when you count out like slow-mo Seagal in the Philippines slowly walking up to his wife and team
She gets one
manning a drone like flying in, and you're like alternating between those two every 10 seconds.
It's just so ridiculous when you say it.
But that's what's happening, right? Like, that's what happened.
But then they just drone strike him.
You alternate between drone team looking at a camera, which is like wildly spinning around in the air. It's not
and it's like cutting to different angles and locations.
It's ridiculous. But we're with them for 10 seconds, and then you're with Seagal slow-mo walking up to this woman in the Philippines for 10 seconds, and you swap between them every 10 seconds for 2 minutes. And then
of an 85-minute movie.
Supposedly he dies. Then
it does just cut. You don't actually, unfortunately, you don't see him get drone strike. It kind of like cuts to black. They like launch a missile in the movie.
They go into the credits.
Yeah.
Honestly, it makes me feel like so potentially they could tease like he's not really dead.
Yeah.
If he was like still making movies.
They got the wrong address. They just drone strike somebody else's house.
No, that just means that this is the prequel to the other prequel that also had him
says,
called
I used
Alexander.
To be Jake Alexander. Now I'm John Alexander. They'll never find me.
I'm a genius.
They have to lie.
Will never find me. So we were joking about this like not that long ago, like about how we could change like edit to say that some movie's the sequel of another. I think this is the one. I think we say General Commander is a prequel to A Good Man and all those other ones.
Do we have like an established line, a through line for all of them?
No.
Well, I will say one of his guys, like one of his team guys, played by Byron Gibson, was in a previous Seagal film, The Asian Connection. He was like the crazy Aussie guy who like cranked up the violence.
He was the bank robbing partner that got killed for no reason.
Yeah, he got killed in a random carjacking.
Yeah, he basically plays the same character here. He's pretty much Yeah,
except in this time he's not a bank robber. He's a CIA agent with
I imagine this is like after this
past.
Because for some reason at the end of the movie, the Leslie Knope, the CIA handler, just like lets everyone walk out of the room without any repercussions. I imagine he goes on to rob banks in Southeast Asia. Like that's what he does after this.
Yeah, you know what? Yes,
that works. Yeah.
That the whole we gotta map out the Seagaliverse,
the Seagal extended universe,
and how each one of these movies actually like runs into the next movie and where all the characters go.
So one of the problems is that somehow Seagal has to survive Machete so that he can take over the world as the dictator in Perfect Weapon.
To be fair, in Machete, he doesn't really get stabbed. In Machete, there is very clearly one half of a machete kind of taped to a pillow on his gut and the other half kind of taped to his back.
Yeah.
So he could very clearly have survived that.
I think we could also probably exclude Machete from the Seagaliverse.
Is that like an alternate universe Seagal?
Yeah, exactly. Like in that context, I think.
Or we just incorporate it that it is in the Seagaliverse. It is that
that's his final form.
Jake John Alexander like saw the YouTube trailer for Machete and he's like, I want to get involved in this. And he like appears. He is acting. Seagal is playing Jake John Alexander, Casey Ryback, who is playing whatever that character's name was in Machete.
Yeah, Machete is a movie in the Seagaliverse. There you go.
That makes sense because Seagal would be like, if you ask Seagal to cast a movie, he probably would be the type that would literally just be like, Lindsay Lohan and Robert De Niro.
Yeah, sure.
Like, yeah, those are actors' names.
Like just naming actors he knows. I don't.
Yeah, it's like Danny Trejo, and like, okay,
sure.
Yeah, he was in some of your earlier movies. I get how you know his name.
Yeah.
So I think that's how that works.
Yeah.
Even though
like
it
it
makes the least sense kind of plot and like character speaking, but I guess chronologically the Perfect Weapon has to be the last
That
one.
has to be
That's
the
only
last
one that's like
one,
set
yeah.
in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope he doesn't die in the...
Unless the weird helicopter that he got in was a time machine. or
Although the
something,
Perfect
but-
Weapon does establish, because that one also is like very boring until it has an insane ending, just like General Commander.
Yeah.
In the Perfect Weapon, because that's another one you're like boring. He gets stabbed, and then a robotic like a clone or a robot of himself shows up and says, "I'll take over now," and flies away in a helicopter.
Yeah.
So maybe, or what if Terminator style in the Perfect Weapon, he's sending clones of himself back, and those are all of the... Any movie that we can't directly connect is a clone from the Perfect
It's a
Weapon sent back in time.
Yeah.
Anytime where we're just like, oh, the guy died, or there's no way this possibly connects to any of the other ones, it's a clone from the Perfect Weapon.
It was him trying to take over the world and
Yeah.
just
Dang.
like failing at different times.
That's the crutch we can lean on.
The
Yeah.
Segaliverse gives us all the answers we need to line these up in some kind of perfect order. We got to
The
build a
only-
flowchart.
Perfect
The only
weapon
one I
is the
refuse to
key.
explain is the
Yeah.
only thing I refuse to explain is the Saturday Night Live appearance.
No.
What? Wait, have you...
Well,
It's
if
been over a year. Have you both actually watched it?
no.
No? I
No.
need you guys to watch it.
But it's so bad. I watched like the first 5 minutes and I hated it so
I
much.
love-
You have...
Here,
have
wait.
to-
This is just so funny that Aaron says no, I can't watch it. It's so bad, and Han says you have to watch it. It's so bad.
We've watched 48 movies and they're all so bad.
Nah, I
Trust
will-
me, you
I
can
will
get
say-
through the SNL episode.
I will say the last time I tried to watch the SNL episode, I had only seen like 3 Seagal movies.
Yeah.
So I had
We
not been
have-
acclimated.
We have our shots and our boosters at this point.
You-
Yeah.
We'll be immune.
Am I
been
immune to
vaccinated.
Seagalisms?
Yeah.
Like, am I immune to the Seagaliness? I
Like, we
think
were
I might
three
be.
movies
at
Man,
this
in.
point.
that's a wild way to think about it. We've effectively had our Seagal vaccines. We've been boosted, like you said. We
It's
can
like,
take any amount of Seagal.
It's like that scene in The
Where-
Princess Bride where he reveals that he's
Yes,
just
we
been
have- we're
consuming
immune to
small
iodine.
amounts of poison his whole life.
I can drink either goblet. It doesn't matter. I'm immune.
Yeah.
we can handle any amount of awful Seagal that's thrown
Yeah,
at us because
fine.
we're immune.
Like when we were 3 movies in, we were like an infant during the yellow fever. Like we did not stand a chance. Now we're good.
We're fine.
I'm walking into that medical unit like no mask, no gloves. Like I'm good.
It's all good. I have my favorite line and I have a star
Yeah.
rating. And
Yeah.
I think I have a what you should watch instead.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Yeah, you
Give it
go,
to us.
go through all 3 of them. Let's go.
One thing, you said there was like a pretty okay knife fight at the end. I do
No,
want
it
to
wasn't
say
pretty okay. It was still a bad knife fight. It was the best Seagal knife fight.
I mean, I have in my notes, of course it descends into a knife fight with Seagal limp-wristedly wielding a kukri.
Yes, that does happen.
They don't even establish. There's nothing else in this movie. No other part of this movie where he uses a knife. They don't even establish that he has any skills with it. At least in other movies, they've said so a little bit. In
Yeah.
this one, it's just like, oh yeah, no, of course I'm gonna fight you hand to hand because that's just how this goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as good as like Under Siege, like shoving a knife through the top of a guy's head and then throwing him through an
No,
old
the
like
Under Siege knife
90s
fight was very bad.
TV. Yeah.
This was objectively better than the Under Siege knife fight.
I
I had more fun like him sticking a knife through the top of Tommy Lee Jones' head and throwing
No,
him
that was
through
more fun
through a monitor.
because he's sticking a knife in the head of Tommy Lee Jones. This was, I think, technically better. He stabs a dude in the throat. That makes more sense than stabbing him into the hardest part of the skull.
I mean,
I don't
guess.
know. Honestly, Zach, I don't think this one is any better than the Under Siege knife.
You know, it is often that geniuses are misunderstood in their own time. I get it. Yeah.
Oh wait, I have 2 more things to say. I'm sorry. I keep coming up
don't-
with things.
I don't
I have
think
3 more
that's
things to
true.
say, mostly about the villain. 2 things about the villain. One thing about one of the people on Seagal's team. There's a lady on Seagal's team whose brother is a priest,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
She's
she
my
goes
favorite character.
she goes to confession to him, To which I wrote down, generally don't go to your brother for confession. If your brother's a priest, that's generally that's like a weird, don't do that. You're allowed to. There's no rule against it, but like, don't.
This is a weird through line, though. Is Seagal like Catholic in real life? Because Catholicism pops up in a strangely high amount of these movies. Like priests are in like every third movie, but also they get something wrong about them every single time.
Well, that's also very Catholic.
Fair, but I'm just like, I'm wondering why this is so recurring. Like, I feel like we've seen like, I was not expecting that. Oh, it's okay. We have the perfect guy to talk about these Seagal movies. He's a priest, so he's bringing some relevant experience. But that is unironically the case.
He is Irish on his mother's side.
Oh, so he got some genetic Catholicism. Like,
yeah.
Some genetic Catholicism.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. It's in his blood.
Yeah.
So she goes to confession to her brother, which I have a sister. I love my sister very much. I would not hear her confession. If she asked me, hey, will you hear my confession? I'd say, are you dying? And if she says no, I'll be like, I don't really want to. The other thing...
Because I know it's different, but you're not allowed to go to another priest in your church for confession, right? Like,
I cannot go to my pastor. So I'm an assistant
Okay.
priest. I can't go to my pastor for confession. And like our parish employees cannot go to him for confession. They can go to me because I have no authority over them. Like, I don't have the authority to hire and fire people.
Okay.
So like if they confessed they were doing a crime or something, like I wouldn't be able to act on that anyway. So like they're allowed to go to me, but yeah, I can't go to my boss for confession. But also like hearing your family's confessions, like it's just weird. There's like a different dynamic there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Don't do that. I mean, like in an emergency, yes, absolutely. But like generally, you avoid it if you can. I think so. The main bad guy. Two weird things about him. One, I think his acting direction was always just be as Italian as possible. I think that was the only direction he was given.
Yes. To be fair, that is a good. I think every movie could benefit from one character getting that direction.
I think that's pretty much all the director.
Why do you think The Godfather is the best movie of all time?
Told him to do. The second thing,
as Italian as
just imagine
possible.
if you're watching Mission Impossible and then all of a sudden, like Benji started talking about like gabagool, like pasta linguine.
Well,
like,
so like they have this dinner scene where he's sitting down with some of his other like mafioso guys, because they're waiting for like this government official that they've been bribing to show up because they need to like figure out who killed all of his guys that were involved in the organ harvesting that killed Zach. And they're waiting for him to show up and they're having dinner. And like the waitress brings the pasta and they all go, the pasta!
No joke, my favorite scene in that whole movie. The best part of that movie by a wide margin.
Like they all just sit around like, I think the director literally just told them, like, make Italian noises because they're saying like words in Italian, but they're not actually like having a conversation. They're just like saying things in Italian.
But Aaron, best movie ever, Godfather. Best TV show ever, Sopranos. Like, come on.
They just say, the pasta, the
deck
pasta.
is stacked.
You gotta love the pasta. And like, that's the whole scene.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's the best scene. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the movie.
Also, like, weird character choice. The main bad guy, Gino, he vapes?
all the time.
Like, constantly? Like, he vapes throughout the whole movie?
Like an organ harvester, and you're just like, yo, but let me hit that jewel, though.
He's got, like, a big gold vape.
Let me hit that cotton candy, though.
Like, yeah, he's just, like, ripping fat cotton the whole time, and I think it's very distracting. Yeah, and then I just have my favorite line. It's actually during that very Italian dinner scene, when the government official guy that they're bribing, like he's in the police or something. When he comes in and he doesn't know who it was that killed all their dudes. Gino, the main bad guy, tells him, "You're like a fork in the soup, useless." That was my favorite line. You're like a fork in the soup. That was my favorite line.
No, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
What's your star rating?
1 star. Because nothing was like, I don't think it was offensively
egregiously bad.
It wasn't like, I didn't feel that this movie hated me as much as, like, my half a star, like the lowest possible rating on Letterboxd is half a star, and I have looked into the abyss of what half a star is, and I don't feel like I can give.
You
most
looked
movies,
half a star in the eyes, and you've seen the hate.
Yeah, like
no, you looked half a star in the eyes, and they blinked first.
Like, I don't think like for me now I don't know if we want to like preempt our wrap up episode, like how we've been changed by this experiment. But one of the ways I've been changed is that like I cannot in good conscience give most bad movies half a star.
Yeah, it's got to work really hard.
They have
I like
to, like,
that.
Yeah.
The bottom. You have this metric of I didn't feel like I hated it. Like Maximum Conviction hurt you.
I hated Maximum Conviction.
Every single one of these movies has affected us, but you watch Maximum Conviction and you're like, no, this will affect the way I view every single movie for the rest of my life.
I hated that.
You
movie
were personally attacked
moment.
by Maximum Conviction and you never recovered.
No, this is a defining moment in your viewing of movies.
It changed how I criticize media.
Like that is maybe for you, Aaron, the most important movie you've ever watched is Maximum Conviction.
It might
I
be.
think it has changed the way you watch movies.
Because it brought it. I didn't realize how low a movie could get, like how hateful and spiteful a movie could be.
Like every time you say, I don't feel like this movie hated me, I know the movie you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what that's in reference to.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, mine of that category is not Maximum Conviction. Mine is Sniper Special Ops.
But hey, and I didn't hate Sniper.
See,
I don't think Sniper Special Ops hated me, and I didn't hate it. I just thought it was bad.
See, mine is actually Mile 22 starring Mark Wahlberg.
Wow, completely different.
Mile 22, I saw that in theaters. That movie hated me.
Wow.
Not even a Seagal movie, huh?
Not even a Seagal movie. Because the
Amazing.
Seagal movies, I would give half a star. I don't think hated me. I don't feel personally attacked by them. Mile 22, I felt personally attacked by.
Like, I don't think I can give any movie that didn't like actively hate me half a star, because I've seen how low it can get. I've seen how bad a movie can be, and
You've seen the depths of the depths.
yeah, I have to give this movie 1 star at least. Now the end, like I said, the ending, like 5 minutes, did make me dizzy. Because I thought the editing was atrocious. I'm very sorry, editor.
Oh, it's very bad.
Who was the editor?
Well, it's just I don't even know if it's the editor's fault. Like I don't know if he got instructions on this or whatever.
No,
like,
I don't think
doing
he was
this
told
weird,
much.
like jarring, like echo thing. Like it was a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Oh,
a good one.
he was also the editor for Attrition.
Okay, yeah, it was his fault actually. Yeah, I'm sorry. He sucks and it's his fault, and he hates us and we hate him.
Wow. I don't hate him. I just
No, actually, Attrition
this
wasn't
just
that
hurt.
bad. I liked Attrition is the best movie I've seen edited by him.
Yes. There we go. That is true, I think.
Zach, what were your line and your ratings?
I did like every single random like inarticulate Italian like gesticulation that you see in this movie when they're just like pasta, this is my daughter, she's no bonnico, beautiful, like, you know, there was way more Italian in this than I expected there to be.
They will just like casually in the same conversation like shift between Tagalog, Italian, Spanish,
There were
and
like
English.
7 different languages in this movie.
I honestly, I started ignoring it. I was just reading the subtitles and like, all right, fine.
It wasn't a quote, but I did like that one part when you had the female member of the team randomly halfway through the movie. She sees like this poor woman just being like accosted by a man, like she's being dragged into a car. And she goes up, and I was expecting her to do some cool like kung fu, like punch, kick or whatever.
No.
But she just does like slap, and then kicks him in the nards. And I thought that was pretty great. Like that actually was a bright spot in an otherwise dull movie. I like that scene a lot.
Yeah, she comes out of confession and then smacks
and it's like the fact
guy.
that she doesn't even like punch or kick. She just does like she slaps this guy enough that he like just like hits the ground.
Yeah.
My least favorite, not favorite. The Seagal line that most stuck out to me is whenever this guy just like attempted an assassination on him, and he says, "You make another move, I will kill you. I'll kill your wife or your mother or something. I'll kill your dog." And the guy just kind of like hangs up the phone and goes back to sleep. It was pretty funny, but also because like that's like he says that, and I'm just like, "What did the dog do? Like, what do you?"
Also, like, who is this guy?
I'm like, "Who is this guy? Why does this matter?" So that's the Seagal line that stuck out the most. My favorite line is just random Italian gibberish. And this movie is a 1-star. And what you should watch instead.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we've said Mission Impossible at least like 5 times already.
Yeah.
So if you count the whole series, we've probably said it like 10 times. So I'm going to say Succession. That's a TV show. That's not a movie. But with the random like pitching and just like money talk, like, oh, sure, I'll invest $5 million dues or whatever. Like I was getting a little weirdly more
dollary dues.
than I thought it would.
I
So
didn't
you should watch
give
Succession instead. We're in the middle of season 3, and things are getting wild. Let me tell you.
I didn't give it what you should watch
Dollary
instead.
dues.
Hans, give me your star rating and your favorite line. Give me time to think of what I should suggest instead of this movie.
Okay. Well, my favorite. So my star rating is 1 star. I'm on board with both of you on that one. My favorite line isn't so much a line in the movie, because there was no line in this that stood out to me as being even remotely noteworthy. But my favorite line was this screenshot that I took of the subtitles, where it says in square brackets, beeping continues. Because the whole movie, anytime a computer was on screen, it was beep, 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 constant, unbelievably irritating.
So
Just
your
like
favorite-
random generic computer noises constantly. And they felt that whoever wrote the subtitles for this, I think I watched it on Freevee or whatever that's called.
Yeah. This
And-
is just available on Freevee.
Yeah, and whoever wrote the subtitles for it felt the need to put beeping continues in square brackets in the subtitles.
So your favorite quote is a sadly go-karts moment.
Yes.
So fun fact about this movie is I'm not even going to say that like Amazon Prime has like the best movies of all the streaming services, but if you watch this movie, you will be watching it on Freevee, at least at the time of recording. And like when I watch something on Hulu, I get random ads for all kinds of random different products and services, but Freevee seems to just advertise Amazon Prime shows.
Yes.
Like the entire purpose of Freevee is for you to be watching a movie and for them to be like, hey, but what about this much better thing you could be watching? Like, I'd be watching this movie, and then it would cut to a commercial break, and I'm like, yes, I would rather be watching, like, the Roadhouse Jake Gyllenhaal remake, or, like, the Fallout, like, TV show.
Yeah, that
made.
came out tonight. I haven't watched it yet.
Like, I'm sure that I would be having more fun with that.
I've been working all day, and then had to finish this
movie.
movie, and then record this podcast. I haven't had time to
Right.
watch the new
So I'm
Fallout
like, yes,
TV
Freevee,
show.
you're right. I
Which
do
everyone
have
is
a
saying
Prime
is great.
subscription, and I would rather be watching something on Prime. I would rather be watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That was a pretty good show.
Yeah, but okay, but here's the thing though. Would you rather be watching that?
Yes.
So okay, but here's the rest of the question. Give me a second to figure out how I'm gonna articulate this. Would you rather be watching that, or would you be rather watching this Seagal movie, knowing that after this one you only have one left?
One
No,
more.
I'd still rather be watching Mr.
One
and Mrs.
more.
Smith or Roadhouse or
Just
Fallout,
one
anything
more
else.
though.
Oh, Hans and Aaron, what's your watch instead?
2017's The Death of Stalin.
That's a
Wait,
great
did you
movie.
finally watch that?
That's got nothing to do with this. I watched
It's a
it a long
great
time
movie.
ago. I told you
Wait,
all
wait.
about it.
Wait, we didn't. Wait, hold on. I don't remember this.
You two told me to watch it, and I watched it.
I
and
did.
It was amazing.
It's a great
funny
movie.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Watch that
I should
instead of
I
this.
should watch Death of Stalin. I am gonna watch Death of Stalin now.
That's a great movie. I love that movie.
I cannot think about. Hurry it up! We're doing a fucking coup in here without laughing.
You should watch instead of this season 3 episode 6 of Video Game High School.
Oh my god.
Which one? Wait, hold on. Which
That's
one's
the
that?
finale episode. It's the last episode of the whole series. And the reason is it's an hour and 6 minutes long, and like 45 minutes of that is just a big action sequence.
It's like the opposite of this movie.
It's the opposite of this movie. It's just
antithesis.
like a 45-minute long, very well choreographed, character-laden, like plot progressing action scene.
Hey, speaking of, hey Aaron. Hey
Yeah?
Aaron Lynch. Hey,
Yeah.
do you know what are two pretty good movies?
What?
Are you familiar with the movie Bad Boys 2?
I am familiar with the movie Bad Boys 2. I've not actually... So, I am familiar with the movie Bad Boys 2. I am not well acquainted. I've not actually
you
seen it.
Well, okay. Well, where are you with the movie Point Break?
I've not actually seen Point Break either.
You ain't seen Bad Boys 2 or Point Break.
No, but like I feel like I should, and I'm ashamed that I haven't.
I can't believe that I am Danny Butterman to both of your Nick Angels.
I
am like
okay.
take that
Of
scene-
this group, which one of us is the most likely to be a Nick Angel?
I guess that's you.
It is me.
Yeah, it is you. Well, but then what's? There's three of us. So who's is one?
I'm
of us,
one of the
like-
Andes. Easy.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
come
gonna
on.
say, is one of us like the guy?
No,
Actually, I want to be Olivia Colman's character. I just make like inappropriate jokes all the time.
Zach and I were talking about this the other day. It's like Hot Fuzz is easily my favorite movie of all
That's
time.
an excellent, beautiful,
it is-
perfectly constructed film.
It's literally
It is
perfect.
the perfect movie. Not a single thing
Capital
of
P
it
perfect.
could or should be changed. It is perfect.
Amazing.
And it is my favorite movie of all time.
Cannot
and
be
it's very
improved.
unlikely for that
Yeah.
to ever change. And I have not seen Bad Boys 2 or Point Break.
Nope, me neither.
The character in the fiction and reality shames you for not having seen either movie, and you didn't take that personally. You ain't seen Point Break or Bad Boys 2.
No.
The line is just, you ain't seen Bad Boys 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. But then he says, Point Break, Bad Boys 2. And
Which
Nick
one do you think
says,
I'll
"Which
prefer?"
one?" And he says, no, which one are we watching first? That is me. I am so Danny Butterman. It hurts. Like, I am from my heart to my soul, from my head to my toes, Danny Butterman.
Ugh. Danny Butterman does rock, though. He's awesome.
I can't believe neither of you have seen. Okay, so
He's the Samwise
This is-
Gamgee to Nick Angel's Frodo. Like,
he really is. Also, fun fact, Aaron.
nah.
So, are you familiar with the film director Guillermo del Toro?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I had to ask because some of us, I don't know where Hans is on your Discord call. He's right here for me. Some of us
Mhm.
might not be. You should feel shamed. But Guillermo del Toro, amazing director, makes amazing films, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Shape of Water, beautiful. Hellboy, beautiful. Hellboy 2, beautiful. Pinocchio, haven't seen it. I'm sure it's beautiful.
I know
So-
only one thing about that man.
What do you know about Guillermo del Toro?
As
He
the-
Is it that
Pierce in Death
he's the
Stranding?
Apoil and Always Sunny?
it's that he was such a fan of Always Sunny in
He was
Philadelphia
Papa
that when,
Apoil. You.
that when he reached out to them like relatively early on and asked if he could be a part of the show, they were like, "Of course you can be a part of the show." And he plays an excellent character.
I do like how he is to Always Sunny what Bill Burr was to Breaking Bad.
Oh.
They just like Bill Burr so much, they're like, "Hey, can you
Yeah.
you want a
Well,
part
he
of
had
Breaking
like
Bad?"
his agent, like apparently it was just like his agent saw like an early preview of season 1, and he's like, "You need to get in the show. It doesn't matter what the role is. You need to get in the show," and that's how he appears.
Hey, oh my gosh. We need to do a Guillermo del Toro as a writer season so I can talk about the Hellboy movies and Pacific Rim.
Oh my god.
Well, he also directed those. Like,
Yeah. Do we want to talk about him as a writer or a director?
well, you can do both. Why not?
Well, because he wrote 35 movies or 35 things and he directed 21.
He directed how many?
21 things.
I mean, I feel like he writes and like a lot of the stuff that
He often writes and directs the same,
Yeah.
like one project.
I
So
mean,
if
I
we
will
want to talk
do a
about him as an
Guillermo- I will-
auteur, we can talk about the things that he both wrote and directed.
You don't have to twist my arm.
directed.
I'll do a Guillermo del Toro season tomorrow. Like, he has Blade 2, Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy 2, Pacific Rim, Crimson Peak, Shape of Water, Nightmare Alley, Pinocchio, and he's working on a Frankenstein. Apparently, you do not need to convince me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just really want to talk about Hellboy. It's
What I was gonna say though, Aaron, is
Love
that
the
you know
Guillermo del
how
Toro
you're
Hellboy
playing the
movies.
game
Yeah.
Death Stranding, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, hey, what's
Oh
up?
my-
I'm Guillermo del Toro. I'm
Yes.
here.
yeah. It's like, where did you come from? Why are you
So
here?
fun fact. It looks like you boot up Death Stranding 2.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, George Miller's like, hey, what's up? I'm George Miller. I'm a character in this now. I'm here.
Like it's a Rick
Like-
and Morty sketch or something.
Yeah. Like but in like the most recent trailer they put out, I don't know if it's like the actual, if he does the voice capture, but like the character is like a scan of George Miller. And
Wow.
he popped up and he's even wearing like the George Miller glasses. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, all right.
Okay.
They had Guillermo del Toro and Nicholas Winding Refn in the
Alright.
first one. I'm on board.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me you got George Miller in this next one.
Wow.
If there's another board, I'm on it. Okay, this Seagal movie wrapped up a while ago.
Yeah.
I love movies. I hate these movies. I hate these Seagal movies, but I love movies.
I love movies so much.
I love movies so much. It's a shame we have to watch so many bad ones.
Oh my gosh.
So
Power through. We got one left.
Fun trivia question. Play the Jeopardy music. Can any of you tell me why this movie was called General Commander?
Because I got it. Bing. I buzzed in. It is because when he goes to the Russian lady and gets money, the company that he sets up with her money, her $5 million, is called General Commander. It's like a private security
Wait, is that
firm
real?
Are you
called
serious?
General Commander.
Are
Yes.
you? Wait, is that?
Yes.
I didn't think there was an answer to
There
that.
is an answer to that
I'm
question.
I'm genuinely impressed.
Boom.
So
I
the
paid
title of the
too much
movie has
attention.
nothing to do with the movie until
No.
3/4 of the way in.
There's like 20 minutes left of the movie. Yeah, he sets us up like in order to carry out this operation at the end. He sets up a private security firm called General Commander.
That's okay. You're the Ken Jennings of this podcast, I guess. I didn't
I'm
think
Nick
there was
Angel
gonna be an
and Ken
answer for that.
Jennings. Oh my gosh!
Okay, good gold star. I'm speechless. So I'm just gonna stop talking.
I still got last place in the mid-season Seagal trivia thing. So.
Well, hey, I tell
Yeah,
you
there's
what,
always
the
part two.
finale trivia episode is coming up here pretty quick,
Woof.
and
Oh.
I don't even know what to expect.
Okay, I got it. We gotta start thinking about this now because the prize, the anti-prize for that one has to really sting. That one has to hurt. We need some fire under our feet for this second trivia game. Because it was just watch a Seagal movie last time, which, spoiler alert, we've watched a lot of Seagal movies. We need something
Doesn't
that
mean
really
anything to
stings.
me anymore. You can't punish me that way.
Not even by forcing you to watch Maximum Conviction again.
No.
Like this is, we need the Bene Gesserit like pain box that you put your hand in. We need to determine who is man and who is animal.
Yeah.
We need something that hurts. So we'll think about
What?
that, and you.
I no
the
longer
listeners,
fear
will
the
find out what that
Gom
is soon. No, fear is the mind killer. Fear is the tiny death that obliterates us all. I will let the fear pass through me.
It's by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Yeah.
It is by the juice of Sappho that the mind acquires speed. The lips acquire
Okay.
stains. The stains become a warning. It is
Okay,
by
we're
will
just
alone
gonna-
I set my mind in motion.
we're
All
just gonna
the
quote
David
the
Lynch fans
entire
out there
Dune series.
are losing their minds.
Speaking of, did you know he's trying to get an animated movie made and no one's funding this? Come
What?
on.
Let the man do what he wants.
Let that man do what he wants. Fun. Literally, he should be able to walk into any room and just be like, "Hey, I want to make a movie," and they're like, "Okay, we got you. No further questions. Here you go.
Yeah.
Here's this blank check."
Like I heard people
We
talking
got
about
you.
like I watched a video today of this of, like people talking about like the third Dune movie with Denis Villeneuve, and they're like, yeah, there might be, it's a really hard book to adapt, Dune Messiah, like it's really difficult. There's like a lot of really complicated stuff in there, and I'm like, and they're like wondering, is the studio going to step in and tell him that he can't do this and that? I'm like, the dude made like billions of dollars for Warner Brothers. Like they should write him a blank check and say, do what you want, Denis.
Right.
That would make the best business sense.
He managed to make a profitable science fiction story like during the COVID epidemic.
Yeah.
Like he somehow still turned a theatrical profit when the movie went straight to streaming the same day.
Yeah.
Let my man cook.
Let him do whatever he wants because it's working.
Yeah, like man doesn't miss. Okay. Speaking of man who does miss, that was General Commander.
You had
starring
to
Steven
think for a
Seagal.
second about that title, didn't you?
Yeah, I was completely stopped in my tracks. I didn't know there was actually a reason it was called that.
Yeah. But now you know.
We're almost there. I'm feeling the energies, the spirits are high. We're almost there. One more movie.
One more.
Let's go.
One day more.
One
We
more.
can do this. If
We
you
can
can do it once, you can do it 49 times. That's what they say.
Well, I think if you can do it 48 times, you can do it one more.
I don't know. This might be the straw that breaks my back. We'll see.
We'll find out.
We hit that point a long time ago. We've been coasting
Yeah, there's
ever
been
since.
so
At
many
least I
straws
have.
that have broken so many backs.
I mean, at this point,
I
I'm
think
just
you would-
like a duck. It's just sliding right off of me. Don't care.
I think it
Doesn't
was
affect
like
me.
movie like 18 was when we were really at our. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle there.
Like
We
the
made it
movies have
through to the
gotten
other
worse
side.
since then, but they have affected me less. Until I got to Maximum
Yeah.
Conviction, that hurt.
Yeah.
That one
Well,
hurt.
it's because you didn't have the flow for that one. I think.
No. Well, then after that, it's been fine. Like
Like you need to be
I'm
like
okay.
the water rather than the ore, and you were being the ore.
yeah,
Yeah.
gotta learn my
Okay, so watch
Seagal
us.
Tai Chi.
Yes, we need to redirect the energy, allow
Oh
it to
my
pass
God.
over. Actually, we need to. It is like the fear. We need to allow it to pass through us.
Yeah. And when I look
Okay.
behind me, only I will remain.
And there were 2 sets of footprints. Okay. That's
They're too
We're
old.
gonna- this-
we shutting this down?
Yeah, we gotta stop.
All right.
okay.
Call it in,
3,
Zach.
2, 1, stop. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
That means one of us has to die.
Well, like this.
Bailey, what the are you doing? Stop that! Stop
Oh,
that! No,
What happened?
he's munching on Sarah's olive tree.
Oh no! Don't do that.
Bailey, no. But the thing is, Bailey, no.
Munching on the
Put
olive
this-
tree.
You can't get to it. She's an olive tree.
It's a big plant.
Well, it's a tree. But we came home one day and he had like chewed a bunch of the leaves off. Like
Oh.
you can see, we just came there were a bunch of like the leaves on the ground. No! Don't go for the lemon tree. No, it's not an either or. Yeah, that's right.
It's more of a neither nor situation.
It's a neither nor. Exactly. Thank you, Aaron. Listen to your Uncle Aaron, Bailey.
Oh, thanks.
He's gonna go for the lemon tree too, so I gotta get that out of here. Oh my gosh, this menace.
He's a menace.
He is. Certified menace right here.
Oh,
Hey,
look
Bailey.
at him.
Do some content.
But he's so cute.
Bailey, give us some content. Look at this. Can someone take a screenshot of Podcaster Bailey?
You gotta put headphones on him.
Oh, I do gotta. Okay, give me 1 sec. Okay, somebody full screen my video.
Hans, you're on it.
Yep.
What? What? Podcaster Bailey!
Oh, wait.
I can't hear what you're saying, just in case you're giving me any notes or anything. we get it?
Oh, kind of. He kept moving his head around.
Yeah, that's fair. As long as he got something.
Aww.
He's out of breath because we were running around the yard before this to try to get his energy out. Sarah has a work thing, so it's a boys' night. Good boy. Ooh,
Nice.
Good boy. Good down. Okay. Do we want to clap in?
Yeah.